Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully people can hear me. Hopefully people can see me. Give a shout out in chat if both of those things are true. I'm Russ. I'm the lead sculptor at Steamforged Games. It's Wednesday afternoon and we're going to do a little bit of sculpting and digital painting for the Godtear Far Arena weekly prize, which was won this week by Mark, and he has elected for us to make a new version of a follower for Titus. So hopefully you can see Titus sitting on the screen, and Mark's requested a character that feels like he has been out on the hunt with his warband and his champion, and this guy has been collecting trophies from the Fallen. So I've pulled a few models in from different warbands, and I'm going to chop them about, going to decorate up this model, and then we're going to drop it across into our painting tools and start colorizing it. Good morning to Ray Lancer. Good afternoon for where I am, good morning for where you are. Right, so let me explain what my plan is. I know from having chatted with Mark that he is a big fan of Wraith Marid, so obviously I've grabbed some orcs because I thought they'd be fun to chop up, and I've grabbed one of these splashlings from Wraith Marid, and I'm going to start off. I want to isolate this mask, so we're going to steal some bits off these various followers and use them like their hunting trophies. So we're just gonna, that will do, we'll just grab this and do that, do that, do that, do that. And that gives me one of these. And so let's take this, and we'll start off by grabbing our follower, and we'll append this mask, and it might come in, it might be a little large. Just make sure they're all in the same place. It is a little big, so we're going to shrink it down a bit. And I reckon this might make a nice piece of chest decoration for him. So let's try that here and see how that looks. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. We'll dip it down slightly and spin it round, and we're going to pop that there. So that's going to go on our guy, and then what I want to do is grab this guy. I thought he'd be fun because I love this head. So what I'm going to do again is we're going to isolate this head part. So I don't want to spend too long in the sculpt stage of this, because we want to get this painted up and working for our Tabletopia build as soon as we can. So we're just going to fly through here, isolating and splitting pieces off and building up our new guy. And then we'll get on and paint him. You thought we wanted to play again on Saturday. We did, but as is often the way, life gets in the way. But that game, me and Matt still have that game open. We still hope at some point we will go back to it. Which would be pretty cool. I hope you all are enjoying the Godtear Tabletopia build. I've got some plans for it. Do we want to do a head on a pole? I think we want to do a head on a pole, don't we? That seems like a pretty good plan. Yeah, I've got some new things. We might have some announcements for Tabletopia coming up very soon. I want to talk about things like champion rotations at some point. Not to worry, we're not planning on doing any in the next. You're certainly good for at least another week. But we are looking at having some of our champions rotate round, as we discussed, to give people a nice chance to try lots of different to give people a chance to try lots of different champions. So we're just putting some basic detailing on this guy, because this isn't. Yes, I know. Go away. It's an old ZBrush bug that they got rid of and has now come back. Because this model is for the Tabletopia build and not for casting, I'm probably going to be able to do play a little bit fast and loose with stuff that otherwise would be a problem for us. That's looking pretty cool. Right, let's what I want to do is add a sphere into the mouth and then use it to make a tongue, so that he goes from feeling like he's roaring to feeling distinctly deaded. Cool. And I got another orc. This guy. I thought we could steal this guy's head. I'm a big fan of heads as hunting trophies. I think it is the classic way that hunters mark their trophy of their quarry. If it's good enough for the predator, it's good enough for me. We're not joined by anyone in chat today. We don't. It's just me. So if you've got any questions, any comments you want to chat, just let me know. I'm watching the chat window. Otherwise, it's just going to be me talking away. Right, what we're going to do is, it struck me as I was looking at this model and thinking about things that we could do. It struck me that that hand looked like it was purpose built for doing something like this. So we need to position this just right, so that needs to go there. Oops. And then we want to isolate this and pull this up. It's quite liberating to not have to worry about things like how the model's going to cast and whether or not these bits will be too thin and break, because because we're dealing with an all digital setup for this guy. So I don't have to think about that. I can just do something that looks good, which is a pretty cool place to be, I don't mind telling you. So far so good. Right, okay. Just going to add a bit of meat, as it were, to the neck area. just that's looking pretty cool. I think I wonder if it's possible for us to put a bit of a skull. And maybe we can turn his helmet into a skull helmet. That would look pretty cool. I have no idea if this is going to work, but it'd be nice to think that it would. Well, I certainly wouldn't mess with him. I really do something to this, because obviously we've got our I trust that everyone has had a good week this week. It's been an interesting time for me, getting ready for various stuff that we've got going on. A lot of internal projects happening at Steamforged, which is always good. I like to keep busy. I don't cope well with not having stuff to do, so it's nice to stay busy. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins this week, and I'm looking forward to working on some new champion stuff. More on that later. Right, let's we need to fetch something in here that we need. We need a 25mm base to put him on. That's going to help me figure a few things out. Right, believe it or not, we're probably almost done with the building stage of this, because I kind of want most of it to be handled in the paint layer. So what we're going to quickly do a quick save just in case. Let's just do a little bit of a poly crunch, and then we'll set up our low poly model. Anyone who's watched the previous streams will know that there's a sort of a 3-stage process. So we've done our core build. This is our core build. Just gonna excellent. Then we are going to create our in-game model that will run in Tabletopia, and that's going to be a lower resolution model. So that's the stage we're going to do now. So we're going to start with this lower res, and then we're going to Z-remesh this to get us to the points we want. So we go to our Z-remesher, and we want this to be about 3000. So we'll set that to just under 2.875. Do a quick save because I'm paranoid, and hit the button. Now there's always this is the moment where we kind of drum our fingers and see if it works, but it looks like it has. Now that's not bad at all. Except it for some reason jumped in the poly count considerably. So let's do that again and try again. That's more like it. Okay, that looks super low poly. But that is okay because we are going to subdivide it a couple of times. And we're going to project our detail back from our big mesh. And increase our projection distance a little bit. Do it again. That looks like a pretty good capture. So let's drop back down. Alrighty then, now we're in business. So we are going to duplicate our base, subdivide it a couple of times, and attach our detailed soldier to it, and export him, and we'll put him in Titus's folder. Where is Titus's folder? There it is. And we'll call this alt follower. Oops. Alright, let's whack this in here. So we'll call this alt follower underscore HP for high polygon. And then we want to grab this guy, and he needs to attach to the base below. So we'll turn on Boolean mode and press the Boolean button, and it'll connect the two together for me. What it should do. Oh, it helps if you actually turn on. There we go. Let's do that again and actually have all of our layers visible. There we go. So we'll do an auto group. Do delete hidden, close holes, auto group again. Right, that's our file. That's what we want to see. So we're now going to modify this and unwrap it. So first of all, I've got to split this up into my selection groups to help my unwrap process. So we're going to want the bottom of the base and the top of the base and the size of the base all as separate groups. We'll split off. Let's split. Let's split off that. Let's split off that. Let's split through the middle there. And let's split down the center. That hopefully, actually, that should give us a bit more detail on the face. And then we'll split down there. Right. This is not Resident Evil. You are correct. This is me doing a live sculpt. I do apologise. The the live stream information is incorrect. I didn't change it. I'm used to doing things in Twitch where I do all of that through the OBS. I didn't realise I had to change it. My apologies to anyone who came here looking for a Resident 2 playthrough. That said, there will be a lot of Resident Evil content coming over the coming days, so you'll be able to pick up on that stuff as it happens. Alright, let's have a look. There's all our nice layers. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We just have to do that, and we can group this and export this as our low poly, and this gives us everything we need to build our character to put into our online game now. So let's grab into here. Oh, and I'm just going to change my window. So we're going to, hold on, transition to there, and transition to there. Look at that, seamless. It's like I know how to work it. Okay, this might be a clue. This might be a clue as to something that will be announced on Friday. Possibly, or not, who can say, but maybe it is. Right, let's create a new file. And let's go find our alt follower and add that model in. We can get rid of that because I've saved it. And let's put some texture bake. Let's get some detail on our model. So let's go get our high definition model. And let's see. Let's hit the button and see what the bake looks like. That looks pretty cool to me. Okay, let's roll with that then. Right, let's throw some leather on to start with. That gives us a pretty nice starting point. We'll put some basic materials on to begin with, and then we'll work up from there. So let's throw on some skin. And we'll add a mask and paint that back in there in a moment. And we're going to want some metals and stuff as well. But we'll start with just this. Let's get our light bake on as well. So for working in Tabletopia, we have our light bake, which bakes in our lighting and creates a load of nice shading effects, and we always have that at the very top of our layer. Right. Using the magic of substance, let's get some skin done. The mighty Minotaur on Tabletopia. Well, you might think that I couldn't possibly comment. I couldn't possibly tell you what I spent my morning doing. Right, we are going to jam this guy together. No, very swiftly. Oops. A little bit further than I planned to then. It looks to me, as is sometimes the way, we've got a little bit of a UV error. I can tell because there we go, look, that keeps changing colour. Luckily, I can fix that without having to go out and redo all of our hard work, so I'm not going to worry about it. I will fix it at the end. I'm going to make our orc faces appear in the flesh, and we are joined by Mr. Millington. Hello, Dave. We're going to paint this in the same skin tone, and then I will tint it afterwards to be correct for our orcs. It's going to look awesome with like a bit of a bloody stump. It's not a phrase you get to use every day, but it is nice when you do. Right, we'll get all of these bits in this skin finish, and then so yes, it is the worst kept secret. I have been working on Rangosh because he was the most requested character to include in the set when we first started talking about Tiltopia. So that is something that I'm working on, and we'll just have to see the best way that I can implement that. But the asset work for prepping him is nearly done, so I'm not ready for us to commit to anything today, but I don't think you'll be waiting very long, and we'll have another character in our lineup. I've just got some tech testing to do to confirm it all works the way I hope it does, and that's going to be pretty sweet. Alrighty then. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, let's add a layer into our orc folder. Have it just be colour for now, and let's go with a brownish green. That's a good orc colour, I think. Let's give that a go. It's a bit dark. A bit too dark. Let's just bring it up a touch. Hey, that I like. What I'm going to do though is drop this under these layers, and then we get some of that skin shading coming through, giving us a more natural finish for the colour. Nice. We're joined by Tom. Everyone, if you're noticing chat, Tom's there. Tom Lishman, who of course is one of our other extremely talented sculptors, and produced Titus and the follower that we're modifying, in point of fact. Thank you for taking the time to join us, Tom. It's very kind. I am going to be the Bob Ross of Bloodstains right now. Just happy little gore. Adjust the interactive lighting so I can see what I'm doing a bit more clearly with the eyes. More gore. There's always room for more gore. We'll get a bit more in there in a minute, for sure. I'm just gonna try and get somewhere quite nice looking with our head here, and then we'll do a bit more work on the rest of the model. I should say that we probably won't get the entire model finished in the time we've got to do it justice. We need a little bit more time than we've got, but this is going to be a really good starting point for me to complete it. And it is my intention that this model will be live in Tabletopia for you to use on Friday. I'm going to do an update Friday morning so that it's all working for the weekend. That is the plan. That's going to be the way of things, I think, is we'll do our updates on a Friday by and large. Take that dark. Okay. There's no point us being subtle when we think about how small this will be, so we can really have some fun with this. I can use the blood to accentuate the broad shapes. So the painting technique in here is not dissimilar to the techniques that we would use in actual miniatures paint, where we can use a darker colour placed quite deliberately to help that read more clearly at a distance. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Right, let's do his mate up here. Alright, we don't want this quite so shiny, I suspect. There go even darker. Fill in the interior of his mate. I'm leaving this guy more skin coloured because I like the contrast. I might tone him a little browner maybe. It's interesting to see that the painting is actually painting. Absolutely. In fact, I would say that one of the things that I found really helpful approaching all of these models is the techniques that I've picked up from doing miniatures painting carry across really well. Obviously there's stuff in here about automatically generating shade and automatically generating highlights that it has to be done by hand, but that said, I think it's fair to say that as a general technique this is very similar. I mean, like, you know, doing teeth, I'll put down a dark background and then I'll put in spots of a mid colour and let those dark areas outline them, and then I'm just going to build up degrees of highlighting. Here we go. So one of the things that I've been talking about, and I'd value your thoughts on if you think it's an interesting idea, is making a sort of a midweek dive into one of our creative processes. It could be this, it could be sculpting, it could be painting, it could be map design, all sorts of things that it could be. Basically doing like a little look into what the creative workshop side of things has got going on, and just having a little stream about that on a more regular basis. And I'd value if people think that would be a useful thing or not, or interesting thing, I should say. There we go. Is there a transfer technique to take over from digital painting to miniatures painting? So they're not in the way that I expected, like in terms of brushwork and stuff. But one of the things that I have found really useful is I've recently taken to doing more work with an airbrush than I used to in real world painting. And the thing about the way Substance works is it uses an awful lot of masks. There's a lot of masking goes on. Hello, Table Ready. This is not, in fact, a Resident Evil 2 playthrough. I forgot to update the stream description, but you're welcome to stick around. We are, in fact, painting a Godtear. Well, we're currently painting the head of a decapitated orc for a Godtear character design for our online arena. Yeah, as I was saying, the thing I have discovered is that the use of masks, the way that I apply stuff to a large area in this, but you use masking, has kind of made me think a lot about how I can get effects using my airbrush, which has that very similar apply things everywhere, and then use masking effects, use masking film or masking tape or what have you. More sculpting process tutorials. I would be delighted, over the moon, to do more sculpting process tutorials, and I've been thinking about like content that's approachable. Rather than just me sculpting something, it'd be nice if we were going to do that, if we could do it sort of project based and give people a chance to make something. It's an idea that I need to spend a bit more time thinking about, but I really like it as a concept. Table Ready are here for the painting. That's good to know. That is great to know. Wow, Dave Middleton would love more streams from me. I tell you folks, it's a sign of the times. It tells you how desperate people have become when they're actively seeking entertainment produced by me. Right, let's I've got a Godtear iron that I made. Where are we? Godtear iron. So basically, where I say I've made, it's just a collection of materials that I've put together. And we've played with the parameters and found that it works extremely well for the purposes of putting into our maps. And so I've saved it as a preset, and it lets us very quickly get a consistent look. So this metal looks really nice with our light bakes and everything. So we're gonna use this for all our metallic elements. See, that predefined shading and highlighting, that's the one thing that I really wish I could carry over into real life. I mean, maybe what we're looking at right now is the future of how miniatures get painted, as 3D printing and 3D mapping of colour to three-dimensional models becomes more sophisticated. It may well be that this is the kind of way that miniatures will get produced, and then the people that want to paint their own will be able to, but there'll be a really high fidelity option for people that don't feel they want to spend all of their hobby time painting, which would be great. I don't believe in the sort of binary one way is better than the other. I believe that you should enable the hobby to be enjoyed by the widest number of people in the widest number of ways. I've seen some amazing technology using the textures, like we're doing up here, UV mapped textures, a machine that can print those onto a three-dimensional surface, and it's not quite doing it at a high enough resolution that I would consider using it for miniatures yet, but from what I was shown, it's not very many years away. And then you could just paint one of your models on the computer like this, hit the button, have 50 or 60 of them fall out of the other end, ready to play. Sounds like a future I want to live in. So Godtear got to be the Tabletopia featured game in their newsletter quite recently, which was nice. Certainly the response seems to have been extremely positive. Everyone seems very happy with playing the app. I'm aware that there have been a few little niggles, some things that nobody can work out what's causing them. I know that for some people in iOS, playing with Shale causes the app to crash, and we're still trying to work out what's causing that. And I know that during the period of isolation that we find ourselves in, some of the sometimes their servers are a little overloaded. But despite the teething troubles, and they are all things that we are actively working to improve, to be able to offer the game for people to play during the period of time we find ourselves in, and being able to offer it for free, has been really enjoyable, really satisfying to propose, and I was very glad that the decision-making team at Steamforged enthusiastically embraced the idea, and then gave us the time and the support to realise it and bring it through and see it to fruition, because it was a bit of a gamble. We didn't know that it was going to work, and we couldn't really prove the concept until we'd done a significant amount of testing and optimization. So it was very nice that we were given that opportunity. Right, this mask here, I think I fancy like a corroded bronze for the water chest plate. We have a corroded bronze, so we're going to throw that on there, drop it under our light bake again, and once more I'm going to apply a mask to hide it and then paint it back in. Then we'll do corroded bronze for most of the mask, and then we'll do the eyes, pick those out in a deep red or deep blue would make sense. I'm going to bring it a bronze armour, like a shining bronze, not a corroded bronze, for some of the armour, and I'll use that to do the eyes and colourize over the top of it. So again, this is a miniatures painting discipline that I'm bringing through as I'm thinking about the layering. Not strictly necessary, because the masking process means that it's actually a lot easier, to work. I don't need to worry about paint running or getting paint where it shouldn't be, because I can always remove it. But the miniatures painting discipline helps in terms of how I want to break the model down and the order of which I want to paint it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's get some more. Oh, actually, before we do, I've just realised there's a rather large and obvious area that we want to have in metal. Probably, I'm working so quickly. I'm wondering, is my pen audibly scrubbing? I suspect that you can actually hear the pen scrubbing away in the background. Let's bring that lighting round. There we go. That's the digital equivalent of turning the model towards your hobby lamp, because it's late in the evening and you're painting, and you should really have stopped, but you just want to finish one more figure, get it on the table. Let's bring the lights around again. Oh, go away. There you go. I just want to get this it's a minor thing, but right. Let's throw on. We'll do the bronze in a moment. Before we do, let's throw on some bone and do that mask. When Tom first showed me the this workflow, I was a bit befuddled that you would add a material that coloured the entire model, and then basically blank it out and only fill in a few small bits of it. But if you get the opportunity to work with Substance, and should you wish to do so, it's available through Steam. You quickly realise that actually this masking based approach is great, because at any time I can go in and I can change my mind about which parts are a specific colour, and I haven't got to repaint them or work over the top of them, because actually all of the paint layers exist across all of the model waiting for me to choose them. It's really handy. One of the things that we set up with this material is the rust in the recesses, and it just comes across really nicely. It's just a little bit of extra pop of colour. Probably in something like Tabletopia it's not super obvious because of the scale at which you're playing and viewing the models, but by including things like that we're sort of future proofing, so you know, we could use these models for other purposes. Higher fidelity graphics, high fidelity screens. So it makes sense to just think in terms of what we could potentially do with them, as well as what we are doing with them today. Yeah. Feels like what we should do is add a layer right up here at the top of this thing, so that we've got a gory layer we can put anywhere. Because that is definitely dripping onto his head, isn't it? Let's be honest here.